Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a quick look at the week ahead forecast for the week of January 20th, 2025. So, interesting energies this week. We're going to be working with a vibration of the 4, and at the core or heart of this energy, it's foundational. It has us pause, slow down, take a look at our foundations and to see where there are cracks within those foundations. And so we could be looking at our health, at our emotions, at our belief systems, at our relationships, you name it. This will be a week where we'll be confronted with likely where it is that there are those foundational cracks and what we need to do in order to start to heal those cracks, right? And this isn't about putting a Band-Aid on something and then moving forward quickly. The 4 brings in the need for paying attention to the details, doing things right the first time, making sure that, wherever our attention is needed, that we're taking the time to give whatever that is the appropriate attention and our focus and work towards creating something better. Now, usually with this energy, whatever we initiate under this energy or as we move through this cycle, things can really slow down. It's not a fast-paced energy. We're not meant to rush through the process of whatever this is, of creating whatever this is, of building whatever this is, of healing or mending whatever this is. This is something where we're meant to be very methodical, very patient, pay attention to the details, and pay attention to the steps that we're taking in order to ensure that what we're building is what we want to be building and that it aligns with the highest good of all involved with whatever it is. So it can be a little bit of a frustrating cycle because it can feel like things are restricted, again, like things really slow down, like there's this inability to gain that instant gratification or to see those instant results. Whatever this brings your focus to this week is going to require time, patience, probably extra effort. Like it's not something that will just be easily modified or rectified. It'll be something that's going to take that due diligence, time, grace, and certainly patience and perseverance, because usually the 4 will not only show us where the cracks are, but it's going to put the obstacles in front of us to make sure that we extract the wisdom to know how to mend those cracks so that we can build something sustainable and sound. So, yeah, there could be areas of our situation, again, that present at this time that it's kind of like we need to heal whatever this is or mend it or, kind of make it more sound before moving forward. The 4 kind of stops us in our tracks a little bit and again forces us to pay more attention to the areas where if we don't do something about it, if we don't fix it, if we don't heal it, if we don't mend it, it's going to crumble everything that we build on top of it. And so again, the goal of this week is really that checkpoint energy, to check in with ourselves, to make sure that what we're building is what we want to be building, that it looks the way we want it to look, that it feels the way we want it to feel, that it's serving the purpose we want it to serve, and that it's sound, that it's aligned. And if it's not, whatever it may be, then this is going to be the week where we need to push pause on everything else and really get focused on that particular area of our lives to start that healing process, to start building something more secure, more strong. And you can find during a 4 cycle that where there are those fault lines within that foundation, whatever that foundation may be for you, this might be a week where that whatever's built on that foundation crumbles. forcing you to put your attention there. So again, if it's on a relationship, if the foundation of that relationship is not sound, this could be a week where, you go your separate ways, you maybe you break up, if things fall apart. It doesn't mean that it can't be fixed, and it doesn't mean that it can't be rebuilt in a more solid way. It just means that you can't continue to build on that foundation because it's not solid. And the 4 comes in and helps to dismantle it if it needs to be dismantled, or crumble it if it needs to be crumbled, so that your attention is there and so that you can start to rebuild in a way that is more heart-led and that aligns with what it is you want to truly be building there. So it can also have us kind of look at where it is that we're overly loyal to something just because we've committed to it, or we've invested a lot of time, energy, resources, etc. into it. And so those areas where we've got that extreme loyalty could also crumble at this time, because or we could face some challenges in that area, because if our heart's not in something and we're truly just loyal to it for the sake of being loyal, but it's not serving any other purpose, it's not aligned with our purpose or our heart center, and it's not what we want to be doing with our time on this planet, then, there will be some tests or some obstacles or some lessons to be learned in that area that will help to move us from that extreme loyalty towards something more aligned. So you could see some things where, again, maybe you've invested a lot of time and energy and resources into it, and that's the reason why you're sticking with it. But if you really look deeper, you don't even really want to be doing whatever this is. You don't want to be committed to whatever this is. You're simply doing it for the sake of being loyal. You could see things come up this week that really push you to take a deep, long look at that situation and to recognize that your heart's not in it, and that whatever it is that you're building on that foundation is somebody else's dream and not yours. And out of purpose for what you are meant to be doing or want to be doing in this lifetime. And so you could see a big shift there this week. So it's going to ask us to take a closer look at, again, what are we loyal to? What are we invested in for the wrong reasons? And to kind of shift the framework a little bit in how we view that, to see that the time, energy, resources that we've invested into whatever this is serve their purpose. It's not wasted just because we're shifting gears, because we're potentially changing direction, does not mean that everything we invested into whatever this other thing is lost or is wasted. It served its purpose. It got us to where we're at now. And now the 4 energy is saying, what's next? Where do we want to go next? What does the path look like now? We can keep investing our energy into this thing that we don't really want or even want to be a part of, or we can shift gears and build a solid foundation and then build something different, right? So those things could definitely come into focus this week and have us take a closer look at that, because not only is this a foundational energy, but at the core of it also is the heart center. 4 is the heart chakra, right? The heart chakra is the 4th chakra. And so a lot of what we're being pulled back to this week is to come from that place of our heart center, our heart's desire, what aligns with our heart center, our intuition, our deeper, desires for what it is that we want in this lifetime for ourselves and for, and what do we want to leave behind for our children and all those things. So much can come up this week to have us take a closer look at, why are we doing the things we're doing? Why are we building on the things, why are we building on those faulty foundations? Why are we investing our time into the things we're investing our time into? So it really is that checkpoint energy that not only has you take a look at the very physical, experience, but it also pushes you back into self to take a closer look at, what do I actually want? Like, what do I want to be building? Where do I want to invest my time and my energy? What do I want, where do I want to put my loyalty, and why? And so it does have us come back to really reevaluate and reexamine our why. Why are we building what we're building? It's interesting because, it is a very detailed oriented type of energy. It's going to ask us to, have a plan, figure out what it is that we want, and then create some kind of a plan in order to reach that goal, to achieve that goal, and then commit to it, and then persevere through the obstacles as long as our heart is still in it. At any point that we no longer want what we're building, we have to shift gears. We have to change direction. And it doesn't mean that we bypass our obligations, obviously. I want to be clear about that. Life has certain things, certain responsibilities and certain obligations that we have to keep. But this is kind of on a bigger scale. And this is really paying attention to the reality that we are creating for ourselves, the experience that we are creating for ourselves, and how do we feel about that? And if there are those faults in the foundation, this is the week to figure out how to heal or mend them in some way. It can also have us look at our self-limiting and self-sabotaging behavior, where it is that we trip ourselves up when we don't need to, and working through any limitations. First, recognizing where our limitations are, and then working through those limitations or managing them in a way where they're not holding us back. They're not keeping us back. So admitting we have those limitations, recognizing that there are people out there who have strengths where we have limitations. And so this can be a great week to call in people who have the strengths where we are limited in some way to help us to reach the goals that we set up for ourselves. But really, it's about recognizing that we can't always, overcome or get rid of those limitations. Sometimes we have to manage them. And one way of managing those limitations is by calling in people who have strengths in those areas. But first, we have to admit that we have those limitations and not see them as failures or there's something wrong with us or we have shame around them. No, we have strengths and expertise in other areas. And where other people have limitations. So this energy can help to remind us of those strengths, but also of those limitations. And it's what we choose to do with those limitations that will determine whether we're able to move forward or if we're going to stay stuck. And then if we're going to get frustrated with being stuck. The other thing that's interesting about this energy is that, it can bring in a lot of challenges to be overcome, to show us more about our situation that maybe we weren't seeing, to show us where those fault lines are within the foundation. And, that those tests and challenges as we're moving through them, first and foremost, it can show us where change is needed. But it can also bring in frustration because we might not have all the answers for what that change looks like, how we're going to reach our goals, etc. Sometimes we can get caught up in the fact that we're not seeing the results that we want to see in whatever area of life this comes in. And that frustration is the instant sort of killjoy. It's the instant sort of quicksand. So if you find yourself this week getting really frustrated because things aren't moving fast enough, you're not seeing the instant gratification, you feel stuck or whatever, you've got to really kind of get to the core of what that frustration is and recognize, do you have the answers? Do you have the full story? Do you have everything that you need to be able to address whatever this is? If not, then instead of getting stuck in that frustration, shift your focus onto what is working. And whatever that is, build on that, right? Move towards that direction. You're still going to have to fix the cracks in the foundation and all of that, but there are going to be things that you don't have all the answers to yet. You don't have all the information. And so instead of getting frustrated because you're not seeing the results of that area, shift your focus onto what is working and continue to build on that. As the answers continue to come in around the areas that you're feeling frustrated over. Because eventually those answers are going to show up, those solutions, the rest of the story. So you'll be able to then tackle whatever that is and move forward. But forcing it, trying to manipulate it in some way, or being too stubborn is just going to keep you frustrated and keep you stuck. So you just want to make sure that you move through that frustration in a healthy way and not get overwhelmed by that. Because again, I will say, whatever we start this week, whatever we sort of initiate, is going to require our commitment. It's going to require our perseverance. It's going to require our dedication. And again, moving from the heart center, but it's going to take time. Nothing solid or sound or sustainable is built quickly. And so whatever we put our minds to this week, whatever we initiate, we just have to understand that it's going to take time to get there. It's going to take time to reach those goals. And so we just have to have patience and grace for ourselves and for others as we move down this road. And we have to know that we will see the rewards. We will see the results of whatever this is. We will get to the solution. But it's going to take time. And we will be rewarded for that effort, right? Because it will take extra effort. Anytime we're in a 4 cycle, it requires extra effort and time and patience. But we will be rewarded for that effort, right? It might look different than what we want it to look, but we will be rewarded. And those rewards will always be in direct proportion to the effort that we have to put forth. So put in little effort, get little results. Put in extra effort, you're going to see those results, even if it takes time. So pay attention to where you're getting frustrated. Pay attention to where you feel like you're no longer, aligned with the direction you're moving in. These are great areas for exploration this week to decide how you want to move forward. And again, if you're stuck in that frustration, that alone is keeping you stuck. So find a different outlet. Find the actions that you can take that will help to move you forward and that will alleviate that frustration. And through that process, you will likely see the solution or the answers to whatever was frustrating you so that you can move forward in that area as well, when the timing is right. So really beautiful energy this week, but it can definitely bring up some frustrations, right? Again, because we're likely not going to see the results that we want to see immediately. It's going to take time, whatever that is. But the key is to make sure that in the process of moving towards our goals, we're not sabotaging ourselves or others in that process. There's a tremendous amount of wisdom associated with the 4 energy. So this week we could unlock a lot of wisdom within our lives, right? And around different areas within our lives that has been maybe like tripping us up a little bit, or again, we've been feeling stuck in, or again, we keep building on a foundation that's got fault lines. So I pulled an animal wisdom message for this week, and it's really beautiful. We got butterfly energy. And this is interesting because it does bring in change and transformation. When we see a butterfly, it does bring in that like metamorphosis, right? That layer of transformation that isn't always easy. Because if you think about the butterfly, it's such a beautiful process that they go through. Like it's such an interesting storyline. If you ever just sit down and read about the metamorphosis of the butterfly. I mean, we all learn about it, but it's just such a beautiful story. But really, truly, it's going from that caterpillar stage through the mess and through the ooey gooiness of, the metamorphosis and emerging as the butterfly. But that takes time and it takes energy and it takes effort, right? Metaphorically speaking, to get through that metamorphosis, to get to the other side of it and to emerge as that butterfly. And the 4 is the process. Right? It brings in that process. It's slow, it's steady, it's methodical, and it can't be rushed. And so really it's a beautiful metaphor for this week and really anything that it brings to our attention that needs that change, that shift, that metamorphosis. And that could be truly ourselves as well in some capacity. But remember, whatever this change brings in, it's helping us to build something more sustainable, more solid, And it is going to require that patience and that integrity in order to do that. But it's also very heart-led and in purpose. So beautiful energy, there will likely be some kind of change or metamorphosis that you'll be asked to go through at this time. And it'll be a slow process. Again, it's not quick. But just know that your efforts will absolutely pay off. If you come back to your heart center, follow your intuition and your inner guidance, and let that be your guidepost towards whatever it is that you are building or rebuilding, or what you initiate at this time. So I hope it's a great week. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.